Oh, hey there, y'all. I'm John.
I'm Kendall. We're the Antonellis of Antonelli's Cheese, and you haven't seen us in a while because our awesome team has been rolling with Cheese of the Month Club and doing the videos. And so I think we're just getting used as a prop because there happens to be a pool behind us. And this month's theme is, appropriately for August, it's freaking hot, cheeses that'll stand up to the heat, pool time cheeses, picnic time cheeses, but really, what cheese can you sit out and while you melt, it stays fine? Yeah?
Oh, yeah. We've done plenty of testing of this with little poolside picnics over our lifetime, haven't we? And when the temperatures start hitting 90 to 100 here in Austin, some of our baby cheeses just don't hold up as well when you're sitting outside and having a good time with friends and family. And so, we can even see there's a little sweat starting to form here, but this little beautiful baby is going to be just fine.
Who you calling sweaty, honey? It's fine.
I was
it's like
talking
heat
about
index
the
of
cheese.
107 today. We got this.
Yeah.
So as you can see in your cheese club box this month, what does that mean? It means firmer cheeses. That's what we're going to be showcasing, firm and hard cheeses. Because when those little softies like a fresh chèvre or mozzarella or those younger bloomy rinds like brie and camembert, when they get out, they will just ooze into a pile and not necessarily a fun pile. And then it's hard to eat unless you literally want to like scoop with your fingers and lick it. So we still approve of that messaging too. But this is just like what we can pick up and eat, go swim a lap, or
a couple laps.
Yeah, oh sure. Or just lounge there reading our favorite book and then come back and eat another bite of.
Totally.
We may have a guest appearance by our dogs because they are making a trip around and excited about the cheese as well.
Yeah.
All right, first cheese. Let's talk about Cobb Hill from Vermont, this beautiful natural rinded baby.
This is their Gouda. So we love Cobb Hill.
Oh my Gouda.
For the first few years of our shop, we actually carried their other cheese, Ascutney Mountain, which is more of an alpine style. But this cheesemaker is spectacular. They've got their own kind of cave aging that they do. They get this really beautiful natural rind going. It's not typical that you see a Gouda with this kind of natural rind here. So you'll get a little kind of paraffin wax, but a little bit of that mold growing on it. And it's going to be a beautiful sort of sweet flavor profile on the palate.
Start with the insides, work your way out. You can eat this rind. What I love about it is this normally firmer cheese is really turning to semi-soft texture out here in the heat. When you can, we always tell you, eat your cheese at room temp. It's that much more flavorful. Why? Because flavor is 80% aroma and only 20% what happens on your palate. So as a cheese becomes more room temperature, the aroma is more present. John will always do a little trick too, where he'll like break it under his nose so it releases the aroma compounds and you can kind of get what you're gonna taste. I definitely get that sweetness, that lactic, that milky, and then
I smell grass and horseradish too on that, which is pretty cool. If you smell the rind real close on this particular wheel, I get a little bit of what I would expect from a British cloth-bound cheddar.
Yeah, and I'm getting sweetness that's going into both sweet and savory, which I love. If you're at it on our deluxe pairings or you're doing this at home with whatever you want to pull out of the closet, this can take both savories like mustards, or it can lend itself to chocolates. You could go either way, any kind of jam. And I would love this one with bubbles. So our Blanc de Blanc, Floraison, or any other bubbles with alcohol or without.
That sounds so good.
Especially, cheers, Rambler, unapproved, sponsored spotlight because we're hot.
Because it's good.
Okay.
A hot day. Well, cheese number one, Cobb Hill. Wonderful producer. So excited to be supporting them again.
A raw milk cheese, so you're really getting to taste
the cow, the flavor of the farm.
Taste the cow.
No. Cow's
Straight
milk.
from the cow.
Yeah.
No, agreed. I agree.
It's wonderful.
And you can see that like naturally kind of yellowing. That's because they're grass-fed cows. All right, moving in color-wise, you can compare this like yellow-hued cheese to this bright white, which is always your visual cue. It's a goat's milk cheese.
It smells great right now. So this is from Betty Koster in Holland, and she makes Brabander Gouda. She makes some of our favorite cheeses, and technically she doesn't make them. She has created the recipe for these and partners with places in Holland to make it to her specifications. So she actually has them age these cheeses at a higher temperature so they develop a little bit more quickly. And this is our shop's most popular cheese for the last 2 years. And in the holidays, we get the more aged version of this. This is a 6-month aged wheel. It's creamy.
It smells like butterscotch caramel to me. We often call this cheese candy because you're getting both the savoriness, saltiness. Hello, fly. Picnic time cheeses. Welcome in. That savoriness, but I get like a little bit of that candied lemon peel, and then sweetness on the finish.
It's such a good cheese. You're gonna love it. We know everybody that usually, if they don't like goat cheese, when they try this, they go, "Oh, I didn't know that's goat cheese," and it's spectacular. It's really delicious.
Also, just fun side note, I call Betty Coster like the Julia Childs of cheese, but she's like this very tall, presenting, statuesque woman, has like a huge smile, this hearty laugh, this curly head of hair. And John, one day, we got to ride like the F. Scott Fitzgerald, our distributor, took us along. We did not pay for these tickets. We got to ride this wooden boat around the harbor of New York, and there were only 10 of us on this. We didn't know how we got invited. We were so excited. It was a little moment where it let us know that our little cheese shop was making it. And John sat right by Betty Coster on this boat and just held her cheeses and looked into her eyes the whole way. I was like, I didn't exist as a woman because John was next to Betty Coster.
You might have been looking into her eyes at the same time.
Oh, true. I mean,
For
all the
sure.
way. Yeah.
There's no doubt.
We're both fangirling on Betty Coster and what she does for cheese in Holland. And also Matt Teo, one of our CCP, Certified Cheese Professionals, also just got back from doing an internship with her. So super cool. All right, next up, we're going to a cheddar. So we've done two kind of Goudas back to back, or Gouda styles. This is...
Now we're going to showcase 3 different cheddars.
All right, so Barely Buzzed is the one that looks like coffee. We're talking about a coffee buzz here. There are cheeses made with different kind of buzzing elements. Right now, we're talking about a Mormon-made cheese with coffee in it. Beehive Cheese is out of Utah. Pat Ford and his family all got into making cheese, and they say love is rind. It's all about the rind. Why is that? Because they make this amazing cheddar, and then they will rub it in different flavorings or inclusions. And we don't often carry flavored cheeses because we don't want it to mask the quality of the milk. And this cow's milk cheese, you're still getting all the yumminess of the milk, but if you want it, you can eat the rind. So what's fun about it is you can eat the inside, and this has been rubbed in espresso grinds and lavender, and you can eat the inside, and I still get the flavor of the outside, and I do not like eating the rind. It's just overpowering for my palate, but some of our customers freaking love eating the rind. So it's a choose your own adventure. In any cheese, when you're tasting it, always start from the inside and work your way out to the rind, because some of the strongest flavor profile is going to be in that rind.
So pair it with your morning coffee. Sit outside in the pool on a morning before it's 95 degrees and have a cup of coffee and have some Barely Buzzed. It is a spectacular flavor profile. I love
Tasting
this cheese.
so good right now. You can just totally get that coffee grind without needing to eat the coffee as well.
This is...
Do I have coffee breath or cheese breath now?
I'm paying attention to the cheese. So when I... aroma is such a transporting experience.
We're following.
So when you smell something that it reminds you often of a specific place or a specific time, this cheese reminds, immediately when I smell it, it reminds me of like the opening week of our cheese shop, because we were cutting so much of this cheese, and when you're handling a whole wheel of this, the aroma fills up a big space, and it's so
food memories.
humbling.
Yeah.
The food memory that I just got to have smelling this.
A lot of taste is about food memories, and it transports you
It's
to
like
and where
I
it takes you back.
feel 27 again, standing at the cheese shop. For it didn't make me 27. But,
all right, straight off
all
of
right.
my kids just telling me that I'm old.
Next cheese. This is a sheep milk cheddar, the one with the orange wax. This is from Veltai's, and this is one of our Texas producers. So they started as a cow's milk dairy only in about 25 years ago, and they have since expanded, having one of the first sheep milk dairy cheese making operations here in Texas. And it's the family runs both the sheep and the cows.
Which means it's farmstead, because they have their own animals, they milk their own animals on the farm, and then the milk doesn't have to transport far. It just goes straight into the milking parlor where they make their cheese, and then it goes into the aging caves. They have these beautiful aging caves. You can actually go visit Veldhuizen Farms in Dublin, same Dublin where Dublin Dr. Pepper comes from. But go visit them in their field store and see the caves if you can. Sheep's milk is one of the
Smells so
rarest produced cheeses, especially in the United States. It's just one of the most expensive to make, and sheep yield the least amount of milk and for the shortest lactation cycle. So that's often why there's a pricier price tag on sheep's milk. But it tastes
And
the
this is-
richest and the
got
nuttiest.
Such a
and-
good smell today. You'll get some of maybe the lipase that you get from like Pecorino Romano.
Totally,
some
I was
of
gonna
those-
say it smells like Pecorino Romano right now, which is always Pecorino means little sheep in Italian, and it's from the Romano region.
It
So it's
smells
always-
like melted Pecorino Romano.
I'm ready
That's
for.
what I get. It's like there's more of a sweetness to it than a sharpness.
You're
to
on
it.
today because I know you're not tasting and I'm eating everything more for me, but I get that sweetness immediately. I want to grill this over like grilled. Well, I want to shave this over grilled asparagus with extra virgin olive oil, and sheep's milk always screams red wine to me. I think this month we're featuring our Red Thumb Tempranillo, which is I think your favorite red wine that we sell in the shop.
Well,
One of them?
It's one of them, and actually one of our. The long story is one of our original team members, Eric, from 20. He worked with us in 2011, so within 18 months of opening, he and a friend have started this company, Red Thumb, and they source their wine from Spain. And so when I got to see him for the first time about last year, and he shared a bottle with me, and I fell in love. It's natural wine. There's no influence really. It's like a dry farming method, and it's awesome. And so I hope that you get to experience the deliciousness of it as well.
And whether you have our red wine or not, just remember red wine is a friend of aged sheep's milk cheeses. It often overpowers some other styles of cheese, especially your young ones. But with an aged sheep milk, you can't go wrong. Red wine, aged sheep milk, all the way. All right,
Well,
last
our
but not
last
least.
one. This is so fun, y'all. This is Red Rock from Raleigh Cheese House in Wisconsin.
Oh, smell that baby. Smells
Ooh,
like the
that's
caves.
fantastic. Yeah, Chris Raleigh and his family have been making these amazing cheeses. So this is an American original style cheese, and because it's both classic American cheddar. One of his specialties is the blue mold. He makes Dumbarton Blue, which is another cheese that we absolutely love. And so he's combined them, and it's rare that we see an American style cheddar that actually has natural rind to it. And so he's added a couple different components together.
We always say this is like if cheddar and a blue cheese had a baby. As you can see, it looks like a block cheddar, except if you look closely and depending on which piece you get, it's artisanal cheese. Everybody's cheese is going to look different, but you'll see this little blue spotted molding from the Penicillium roqueforti mold. Absolutely eat this rind. Or just try it for me, please. It's so good. This will continue with your red wine because the earthiness and those soil notes, if you will, aka dirt, but euphemism, soil. People like that better in their food. And the cut on it, you're just manhandling this cheese.
Well,
Or woman handling it. I
Well,
don't know.
what's really interesting, Kendall mentioned that I break the cheese under my nose. We learned this a long time ago, specifically with bread. But if you use a knife to cut bread, the aromas don't come out as much as if you break the crumb. And so the same goes with cheese. If you let it break along its natural kind of curd development, you'll actually get more aromas. That smells so good today.
This is another award-winning cheese.
So quite very varied flavor profile. So the two Goudas that you're getting to experience are quite opposite from each other. I think this is much more, it's tending towards savory. This one's tending towards that caramel butterscotch. And then amongst the three cheddars, you're getting a broad spectrum. And so what's really fun about this
the most
is,
sweetness out of that sheep's milk, that pecorino style, and then the most earthiness out of the red rock.
Yeah. So each one of these offers a pretty amazing kind of play. Some go with mustard, some go with cajeta, caramel, some go with red wine, some will go with bourbon, better.
The cacao cocoa beans, those are made locally by Tom Peterson, and it's basically a cocoa bean. It's like chocolate and chocolate and chocolate and chocolate, like
sounds
5
about
layers.
right.
So cocoa bean with white chocolate, milk chocolate, dark chocolate, and dusted in cocoa powder.
That sounds
It's like,
fantastic.
it's a lot of chocolate. Anyway,
and
that will
then
bring
the
out the
Lucanica, the salami stick from Olympia Provisions, is a Greek flavor profile. So very herbaceous, a bit of lemon, and it'll go great across the spectrum. And so when you're thinking about having a pool party, when you're thinking about having some fun outside, These are the types of products that we highly recommend because you can put them out. And these have held up. Kendall and I talked a long time. This could have been an hour. I don't know how long, but these cheeses will hold up fine, even in the heat of summer. And so they make a really great presentation if you're going to have friends over by the pool. And I feel like it's time to cannonball. I don't know about you. But
I think it cannonball's good.
Yeah.
You were like landing the plane, and then I just have to say one other thing.
Never get to land the plane.
You
It's
did.
okay.
You landed it. But I loved at the beginning you said, if you see this wetness on your cheese, that is the cheese sweating, and that's butter fat. And so that's all the goodness. That's where flavor is. Fat is flavor. That's the flavor that's leaking out. So just know, don't wipe that off. It's nothing bad. That's the part you want to lick. Cannonball time.
So, y'all have a great day. I'm going to cool off.
Oh, take off the microphone. Thank you, Jordan. Behind the scenes. We'll do pools 2 ways. His way and my way. Peace, y'all.